Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So it's Memorydex Monday. I'm going to be using this gorgeous collection from Kaisercraft called Starry. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I've already started with my two basic kind of shapes. We're going to do two Memorydex cards today. The first one's going to be very simple and very just straight out of the book that we're going to use, and the other one's going to be a shaker. I haven't made a shaker Memorydex card before, so I'm very excited to give that a shot. So we'll start off with the simple one. So I'm going to be using everything out of Starry Night. This is a Kaisercraft collection. It's navy blue, so it's just my happy place. But I decided not to use this in decorating my weeks in December, so I decided to use it here instead. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to get this brick kind of shape. I just love it. Brick kind of shape, brick kind of page. I just think it looks really awesome, and I'm just going to cut out a little bit so that it can go through my die cutting machine, because that way I like the strength of the extra piece of white cardboard behind here. So I'm just going to send this through the die cutter really quickly, and then we can get started. That was easy. So we've got our basic shape. I'm going to work on the shape first, and then I'll add it onto the actual bit of cardboard afterwards. So I think the easiest way for me to work this out, I want to put a sentiment on this one. I just don't know which one. So this kit, sorry, I've got to stop calling it a kit. This book comes with some quotes. So you've got like Merry Christmas, Merry and Bright. What did that one say? Remember this December that love weighs more than gold. Yeah. 'Tis the season for love, maybe? Or do we get this one here that says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas? So I think I want to use, there's this gorgeous gold foiled flowers. I think I want to use, like, cut one of these out and kind of load it up. So I'm going to grab my squizzers. I'm going to grab the new ones, not the old ones. I'm trying to teach myself to reach for the new ones and not the old ones. So I'm going to start out with cutting this one at the top. I'm just going to do the actual flower itself. I'm not going to worry about what goes on behind it, and we'll work out later how we sort of put them back in again. So I am trying to cut right on the edge, because I want that edge to be as still gold as it can be. So I'm going really slowly and making sure I do a fairly decent job of this one. Sometimes I find the easiest thing is to cut kind of tip to tip, and then you can come down in between. What that is going to mean though is that I can't obviously use those bits, so I'll have to find another bit to sort of put in underneath it, but that should be fine. So just trying really hard not to cut off the gold and to kind of stay just on the outside of it. So I've got two of the flowers cut out, and I think that's all I can really use on here anyway, because if I'm going to put that sentiment in that top corner. What I am going to do though, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, because I don't really want I kind of want to put the feather bits or the flower bits up behind there as well, but I think it's going to take away because I can't get right in there. And the blue would look really silly anyway. So I might just try with just the sentiment for now, and we'll come back and see what we can do with the other bit. So we'll use that. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, I think. We'll pull it out and we'll cut it out and we'll see what happens anyway. So we'll start off there. Grab my paper trimmer in. Now the good thing about these ones is that they are all in lines. I hate sometimes when quote sheets like this are all over the place. It makes it really hard to cut them out and not make a mess. So I'm just lining that up with my line so I can just cut straight. Okay, so let's just see what we can do here. So I think if we went like that and like that, and then maybe had the flowers up on foam and had the beginning to look a lot like Christmas behind. I know I only did it in a video a couple of weeks ago, but I feel like I want to put foil on this. I think a little bit, and I know I just cut that by hand. Actually, it's not too bad. I'm going to grab my glue pen. I'm also going to grab some Deco foil. So I'm going to use this one because my big Heidi Swap one's actually already packed. So we're just going to use a little bit of this one and cut a little bit off. So I'm going to do all around the edges here, and I'm going to do it by hand because it'll give it a bit of a not quite perfect look. So I'm going to foil it, and then I'm going to cut off the bit so that we can make it follow that same line as the shape of the card, so it won't look weird. But just for now I'm just going to do it the proper square. I'm just going to let that dry a little bit because I find it's a little tackier once it's dried. Like the Heidi Swap one did, and now I really don't like the look of that. Okay, so instead I'm going to grab this one here that just says hope the season is filled with happiness, which was one of the other ones I liked anyway, so it's not a big deal. I could get that one out of the other, there's another page of the quotes, I could just get it out, but it doesn't matter that much. And I'm also just going to cut off the bottom on this one because this one's got a bit of extra to it. There's also just a teensy little bit of the other colour, and I'm just going to cut that off by hand. So I'll put this one, I still feel that that needs a little bit of gold though. It's just a little bit too something. So rather than using this as a accent, I'm going to put it behind. I haven't used it this way before. Then I've got to cut it. No. So this is the problem. I have packed up a lot of things already, and I was just thinking I do have a beautiful gold piece that would look lovely behind this, but I think I've already packed it. So I've just grabbed a roll of washi, and that actually fits that really nicely. I can't remember if this is Target or Kmart, but it's one of those ones that is just a little bit, I want to say, of a pain. If it doesn't, it might not come off perfectly every time. Sometimes the foil kind of pulls itself up. So I'm just going to be really careful as I pull it up off the roll. I'm going to put it down. Actually, we'll cut the piece that I need first, and then cover it in washi tape. So I'm going to have it sit like that with just a little bit. So it's going to be a teeny tiny amount of gold that's actually showing, but for the purposes of it, I'm going to have it cut there and there. Get that trimmer out again. Just making sure that still fits. Yes, it does. Grab the bit of tape we had. So I'm just going to butt this up against the edge. And then I'm not going to have any of the washi run over itself. It'll just sort of, hopefully that'll, like, it just butts up. Hopefully it won't be as noticeable that there's lots of strips. can see where the strips are, but it's not really noticeable. So I'm just going to pull that up and just cut off all the excess. I'm just doing this with scissors because I've already got a pretty solid line to cut along. Alright, and then we'll put that on there, and you can barely notice that that's washy. And I'm just going to stick that on with some glue tape. Oi, I've just remembered something. So, because I want this to mimic the shape of the card, I just need to sort of trim this a little bit. So I'm just going to put it where I want that to sit, and then just with a lead pencil just mark that off, and then just cut this to match. Doesn't matter if it's not 100% perfect. It's going to sit like that, and we just need to work out then where this needs to sit to do the same thing. So to make that same mark on there, I'm just going to cut it a little bit further in, because obviously I want there still to be that border around the outside. Now it's cut off the season a bit, don't care, we get the point. I'm actually really impressed with how much that gold matches that gold. So stick that one down just with some glue tape, and then we're going to stick the flowers up with some foam tape. So the flower, I'm going to manipulate to sort of sit, the sides can sit off with no problem, the bottom needs to sit flat, so we're going to just stick it down like that. But I'm also just going to roll up the edges a little bit, just gives it a little bit of dimension, and it's just something a little different. Get the foam tape and start sticking that down though. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use foam tape. I'm going to use a bunch of foam tape in the other one. But so it keeps a bit of this dimension, rather than sticking the whole thing flat, I'm just going to put like strips of the glue. And then we can roll these up a little bit more. So I've got to remember which way the shape went. So it is going to still stick, but it's not going to be as much as it could have. And then I'm just going to roll these up a little. Just getting my fingers in underneath it, and just rolling them around this scoring tool. I'm going to cut this bottom one off, just straight along the line of the card, and that one can sit just down on where it is. Okay. And then we're going to stick this one in behind it. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to stick it down sort of edge to edge. Just making sure it doesn't cover the words up. That one actually fits really nicely in there. I'm not going to do too much of the rolling with this one just because it's not going to keep the shape anyway. I really love that flower. I think it looks lovely. And it's really bright and gold, isn't it? And how good does that gold match? I'm very proud of that. I don't like that the ends hit, but if I didn't, it wouldn't have worked. So anyway, so there we go. There's one. Like I said, the second one, oh, now I've just noticed that's a little bit sticky on the back. So I'm just going to rub that off with an eraser so that I don't have the glue. And you could cut that edge off. Like, there'd be no problem with that. If it doesn't fit in my box, I'll just trim that off. But at least for now, it looks fine. So the second one we're going to do is going to be, oh, I've actually forgotten to mount it on my thing, haven't I? Oops. I always find with these kind of cards, it's easier to line up the actual notches for like to stick it into the box. So these bits at the bottom, and then if there's any white sticking out, you can always cut that off because it's not going to make any difference. But these are really important, obviously, so get them right. There we go. So the second one, like I said, we're going to make this a shaker. And I'm going to do something a little bit different with it. I'm going to put some watercolour on the back just to give it a really dark kind of look. Because I don't really think I need to use another bit of paper behind it. Oh, actually, I've just seen this bit and I've gone, actually, I want to use that. So this one kind of looks like champagne bubbles to me, which I think would look really cool with when I put the gold stars in there. It'll look really cool. So the hardest thing here is going to be, I'm going to have to cut the window part out by hand. So we'll put, I'm actually going to have both. Oh, can I fit it? I was going to say, am I going to have the background and the foreground with the same piece of paper, but it's probably not going to fit. So we'll do the background with the bubbles, and then the foreground, I'm going to go back to what I was originally going to do. I'm going to watercolor a bit of paper. So I'm just going to cut this one out first and die cut it, and then I'm going to die cut another one just out of another piece of plain cardboard, and then I can watercolor that. Why am I doing that? For the acetate, this is just something I've learned along the way. So I'm going to cut out about how much I think I need. I'm guessing here, so if I do this wrong, that's okay. And I need this to be, I need the cut to be a little harder. So I'm grabbing in my metal shim because it just doesn't seem to push through this acetate well enough. So by using the metal, I make the sandwich a little bit thicker, which then pushes harder on the die. So hopefully when I pull this out, it's cut the acetate all the way through, which it has not. So I'm going to send it through again. Sent that through a few times then as well, hoping that it would help, but I don't think it has. I think I've come to the conclusion that this acetate is too thick for what I want to do. I think. It does kind of tear out. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. No, it's not. So I'm going to get a slightly thinner bit of plastic and try that instead. This is just a bit of plastic packaging. You've probably got a ton of this sitting around your house, but this works really well actually for making these kind of plastic windows. So I'm just gonna cut out some, that way I can keep some as well. Go. And we'll run this through. We're still gonna use the metal shim just to keep that sandwich as thick as we possibly can make it. Hopefully we've got better success with this bit. I'm going to stop trying to use the die to do this, and I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to do it with the acetate, and I'm just going to cut the shape out. The only thing that's going to be hard about that is obviously, well, I wasn't going to make the shaker go down there anyway, so I reckon I can work this out the easy way. So we'll just cut that like that, and then just cut around the outside of the shape. I can just cut a little bit off at the bottom here, which I'm just going to do with my paper trimmer so that I've got a mildly straight line. So I'm just going to cut off about 1 centimetre on the bottom, which seems about right. And hopefully when I hold that over the top of this, yep, hasn't hit those, and that'll fit behind whatever window I make really easily. Okay, so the other thing we obviously need to do now is we need to actually cut out this window. So I'm just going to really gently sketch out the shape that I want. I don't need this to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. I just want it to follow the same basic shape and have the same rough width of border the whole way along. I'm just trying to make those bits a bit softer. I'm just going to cut this out with a craft knife. If you wanted to be really particular with it, you obviously could. I'm having a thought that maybe I just help myself out a little bit with the curves just by using the window I've already traced as a bit of a stencil. I'm just then going to flip it over because this is obviously the same shape no matter which way it is. That'll help this out a lot. Alright, there's just a little bit at the top that doesn't look really nice, so I'm just going to fix that up. And I'm going to get out my watercolour paints. We're going to paint this, but we're going to do this really fast because I realise now how long this video is taking. So I'm just grabbing my watercolour paints. I have a beautiful dark blue in here that I just love and will match this really nicely. Alright, we're going to scrap the watercolour because it's not working like I want it to. And if I keep going with it, I feel like I'm just going to end up being, this is going to look horrible. So, alright, Ryan's had the brainwave. I'm going to use the middle bit as the middle bit. So that way it just sort of works a little bit easier. That'll make sense in a sec. I'm just going to trace this really quickly. I am pretty happy with the shape there, although it needs to be a bit more rounded on that side. Sometimes Ryan's just so much smarter than I am. So that way when you sort of look through it, it'll drop down into this bit. So I just need to make sure I don't mess this bit up. So when we build it up, that'll work. So if you imagine that sits on the outside, that'll sit on the inside, and then that'll just sit, and then we'll put the shakers in the middle. Alright, so I need to just put that middle bit in first. So I'm going to use the outside as a stencil so it goes in the right spot. So I'm just going to cover this back with glue. So I'm just lining that up and putting that down in the middle. So we know that's in the right spot. Then we can put all of our, we can put our acetate down first because that has to go on here. I always just like to make sure I haven't got too much mess on my acetate because I always seem to get them dirty. So we'll cover that edge. We'll put the acetate down on top of that. My powder tool, go all over the back of this where there's any sticky. Could rub it off, either or will do, but this is just easier at the moment. And then we're going to go over and put foam tape over all of these outside bits. The only other thing I'm going to do, I have got some sticky on here and I'm not happy about it. So I'm just going to grab a tissue and some water and just give that a bit of a rub. It might not help, I just really don't like that little dirty bit. And again, once it's stuck, you can't do anything about it, so better to try now. Sounds clean. There is a bit of a smudge still there, but we'll get over that. Alright, I'm going to go around and put foam tape all around the edge. I'm going to use a skinny foam tape. The only part I'm worried about is just this bottom bit here. I probably should have gone up a bit higher, but oh well. I'm just going to make sure it's not seen through the window, and if it sort of cuts out a little bit of the notches there, that's okay. Also just going to bend this around. Now the trick with bending foam tape is take the release paper off because then it bends a lot easier. I'm just working that around the outside. You can just bend that to any shape you like. And then we'll just close it off with two other little bits. Now remember, we're going to be putting a bunch of glitter and stuff in here, so you need to make sure this does close all the way up. Then we're going to grab our little shaker. So I've got these gold stars. This is from Kmart. I'm just going to not too many. And there's also a sneaky little blue heart that's got its way in here, which I'm not happy about, so I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to grab our backing piece. Hope like heck when we line this up that it all sits in the right spot. There we go. I'm also just going to grab, there's a little bit of that foam tape just sitting at the bottom of my little notches here. I'm just going to put some powder on them so that they're not actually sticky. Oh, look at that. Good work, Ryan. So that gives me the shaker. And then just as the last kind of finishing thing, I just want to put like a, the only thing that's going to bug me. All right, one more little thing to fix. I'm going to cut that foam off. That's the foam that's sticking up through the notches. So I'm just getting my knife and just cutting that way. I'm also going through the acetate, so it's a bit hard to do. I'm going to grab this little Merry and Bright sentiment. I'm just going to trim off all the knobbly bits. I'm just going to stick that there, and I'm just going to put it up on some foam tape as well. I feel like a little bit more dimension is going to be good here. So there you have it. I have two brand new Memorydex cards, both using the Starry Night collection from Kaisercraft. I love this shaker. I know it took a long time to get it, but there's something very cool about having a Memorydex card that moves. I haven't had one yet, so I will definitely be making some more of these moving forward, but I love the way that turned out. This collection is absolutely stunning. It's great for Christmas if you don't want to do those traditional kind of Christmas cards or Christmas colours. And it's always cool to just make these Memorydex cards. They're never for any other reason than I think they're awesome to look at. So if you want to jump on the Memorydex train with me, I'd love to see what you create as well. Make sure you tag me in anything you do make, and I would love to see. Don't forget to be following me on socials for any other cards I might make that I don't make a video out of. I will always post them over there. And don't forget to subscribe for other fantastic Memorydex cards here on my channel. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. You're fully in the festive season, and I will see you again really soon. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!